Chapter 557 Awakening. Huo Yu sighed and said, perhaps it was a mistake for us to return. We not only failed to force them to retreat, but also fell into their trap at Shrek City. Now, we can no longer threaten the Sun Moon Empire on their soil. It seems like all of our plans have disintegrated. Also, Wutong is right. I believe that with Juzi's intelligence, she would definitely not set her aim on Shrek City. The Sun Moon Empire would definitely not waste their resources on attacking a fort which would be reinforced by the full power of two empires. I'm sorry, Yuao. I should not have phrased it that way. If you were the one analyzing the problem instead, you might just have been able to convince the elders. Tang Wutong lowered her head like a guilty kid. Huo Yuao held her hand and shook his head. No, it's not your fault. Even if I were the one who mentioned it, the outcome would not have changed. Juzi is just too smart for us. Her overt scheme forces the academy to save itself. After all, she understands how no one in the academy would ever bet on its safety. That's why her tactics are so powerful. Bei said, however, we can't just leave things like this either. We must think of a way. If not, things will get really dangerous. Huo Yuao nodded and said, how about this? Wutong, you head back to the academy and find out more about the deployment of the Daluo Empire's troops from the inner courtyard. Try and see if you know where the White Tiger Duke and the main forces of the Daluo Empire are. Eldest senior brother, let's head back to treat teacher Xiaoya. After we are done with that, I will make a trip to find the White Tiger Duke to explain about the complexity of the current situation to him. I will also remind him to take care of himself, and to keep an eye on the situation. As for the Doling Empire, I will head there immediately after I'm done with the Daluo Empire, because we only know the heavenly son Douluo. I guess we can only ask him for help. Let's try and see if we can convince the Doling Empire to limit the number of troops they plan to send over to reinforce us. A couple of thousand years ago, under the leadership of the Academy, we were able to gather the power of all three empires to defeat the main force of the Sun Moon Empire. This sent them fleeing back home in defeat, and set the foundation for a few thousand years of peace. I am just worried that the Daluo Empire and Doling Empire are still somehow subscribed to this belief, which is now outdated. If they still believe in it, they will definitely send out all their troops. Then things will become really ugly. Now that the Sun Moon Empire has the upper hand, we can only react to their moves. After finishing his sentence, Huo Yuao felt an inexplicable sense of powerlessness in his heart. He realized how small his individual efforts were, and how useless they were when it came to changing the current circumstances. He had originally thought that the destruction he had created within the Sun Moon Empire would do wonders. However, contrary to his expectations, Juzi was even more ruthless and tactical in the control of her troops. He felt like he had run out of moves. I am still not strong enough. Yuao. Tang Wutong suddenly called to him. Huh? Huo Yuao turned around and looked at her. Tang Wutong moved in front of him. She was not much shorter than him, so their eyes were pretty much level. She stared intensely at Huo Yuao before saying, don't lose your confidence. Huo Yuao was startled, but he immediately understood what she meant. He nodded gently, and revealed a determined smile. Tang Wutong said, previously when our teacher handed the baton to us, he hoped that we could one day become the pillars of the academy. He wanted us to protect and develop the academy with our lives. We must not disappoint our teacher. Yuao, you must be thinking about how small your individual efforts are, right? After seeing how the Sun Moon Empire's huge army is knocking on our door, you feel that our individual abilities can no longer influence the outcome of this war, right? Huo Yuao's eyes widened as he turned to look at Tang Wutong. Wutong, you really understand me. Those were the thoughts that were in my head. Tang Wutong continued, that's right. An individual might seem very tiny when compared to a large group. However, if an individual were to become extremely strong and powerful, he or she will influence the outcome of the war in one way or another. Even if others cannot do it, I believe you can. Don't forget you are the only ultimate soldier nurtured by Shrek Academy. Besides, you are never fighting alone. You have me, eldest senior brother, and all of our companions in the Tang Sect. In fact, you have the support of the entire academy. Remember this, never give up on yourself at any point in time. You are blessed with gifts that others can only dream of. You have your twin martial souls in the spectral demiplane. If there is one person who can change the fate of the continent, it's you. The only problem is that both of us are not strong enough yet. We need to become stronger to control the proceedings of this war. Bei smiled as he looked at Tang Wutong and Huo Yuao. Wutong is right. We should never give up, even if we were to fail in the end. At least we tried our best, and did it with no regrets. Huo Yuao became silent. His mind was indeed a mess earlier. Tang Wutong's words helped to wake him up from his messy thoughts. After seeing Huo Yuao starting to think again, Tang Wutong kept quiet and held his hand. She was trying to use the warmth of her hand to show her support. Juzi, you have really stumped me this time around. If I make a wrong move, I will lose everything I have. Huo Yuao's mind was racing as this thought recurred over and over again. Sometimes, a sly ploy was easier to deal with than an overt scheme. An overt scheme which forced people to take action was the hardest to deal with. If I want to break out of her scheme, I must make an unorthodox move. The strength of an individual, ultimate soldier. Suddenly, Tang Wutong's words flashed through Huo Yuao's mind. He suddenly recalled what his mother had told him before her death. Yuao, it seems like you will have to walk the road ahead alone. Mother cannot accompany you anymore. Remember, in this world, you are the only person who you can rely on. You can only do what you want, and protect what you want only when you become stronger. I must rely on myself. Boom. The puzzle in Huo Yuao's head was finally shattered. A powerful spiritual wave radiated from his head and sent ripples into the sky above him. The clouds in the sky started to separate, and the stars became visible again. After taking a deep breath, Huo Yuao spoke with eyes sparkling with excitement. Eldest senior brother and Wutong, we must not make the wrong move now. I need both of you to follow what I just said earlier. Wutong, I need you to head back to the academy to find out where the White Tiger Duke is right now. Then, I need eldest senior brother to find him and relay our current situation to him. You must convince him not to send all his troops over. Get him to form an elite legion which can move out at any time. Wutong, I need you to head to Doling Empire. You're the only other person who knows the heavenly son Douluo. Find him and relay the same message to him. If I'm not wrong, Juzi's real target is probably the Doling Empire, because it is currently the weakest. Sometimes, the simplest answer is the correct one. Tang Wutong asked, then what about you? Huo Yuao brought her into his embrace as he stroked her long hair. I will first treat teacher Xiaoya, following which, I will begin closed-door cultivation, and push to become a titled Douluo. You're right. If there's one person who can change the outcome by himself, that person will have to be me. I am the only person who can infiltrate the enemy's camp. As the ultimate soldier, I must do it to the best of my ability. Tang Wutong went silent before she nodded fervently, following which, she turned around and ran back to the academy. She understood the danger Huo Yuao was getting into, but at the same time, she understood that this was the best possible option now. Once Huo Yuao obtained his second soul core, he would not just be any normal titled Douluo. Bei looked at Huo Yuao with sadness in his eyes. Huo Yuao raised his hand and stopped Bei from speaking. He smiled and said, eldest senior brother, as a man, I must not cower from any challenge. Let me have a good fight with Juzi. Since she is using an overt scheme, I shall do the same. Let's see who will emerge victorious in the end. After returning to the Tang Sect, Huo Yuao realized that everyone was busy with work. There was only one person sitting in the hall. Tanya was still looking very pale. She looked like a pitiful lily as she sat there alone. Huo Yuao's heart hurt to see her like this. He could still remember her as the bubbly and cute teacher Xiaoya. However, there was now a look of excitement on her face. Her hands were holding the edges of her shirt as she waited nervously for Huo Yuao to return. Teacher Xiaoya. Huo Yuao strode quickly across the hall. Bei was somehow slower than him as tears started to well up in his eyes. It had been a few years since they had rescued Tanya. However, Bei could tell that she had never truly been happy. Her unhappiness was not because of her own lack of health. She felt unhappy because she saw how she was unable to contribute to the success of the Tang Sect. Rebuilding the Tang Sect had always been her dream. She had previously chosen to leave Bei in order to achieve this dream. This showed how important the Tang Sect was to her. Now that the rebuilding of the Tang Sect had begun, she was unable to contribute anything as the leader. She could only watch everyone toil hard every day, or even put their lives on the line. The psychological stress far outweighed the physical pain she was undergoing. Tanya's condition had stabilized with the help of the Kayankan fortune pills and Huo Yuao's life guardian blade. However, she was still a young lady who was extremely weak. After hearing the news that Huo Yuao had returned with the Blue Silver Emperor, how could Tanya not be happy when she finally had a chance of recovering? Thank you, Yuao. After seeing Yuao, Tang Yu immediately stood up as tears streamed down her face. Huo Yuao immediately said, Teacher Xiaoya, there's no need for you to thank me like this. If you and eldest senior brother didn't take me in back then, I wouldn't be here today. Now, I'm going to start treating you. We can catch up after you've recovered, okay? As he spoke, he started to release his spiritual detection and located the Blue Silver Emperor within the Tang Sect. Bei Bei walked over to Xiaoya and hugged her lightly. Right now, the gentle big brother of the Tang Sect was somehow speechless. He had so much love for Tanya, and had probably suffered more than she had after seeing her in a miserable state. After waiting for so many years, a healthy Tanya was finally going to return to his side. How could he not be elated? Within a short while, the Blue Silver Emperor had entered the hall. It knew Tanya was its target the moment it stepped into the ball. Her Blue Silver Brass martial soul was already very weak, even though it was still around. As the Emperor of the Blue Silver Brass, it was naturally able to sense the state of her martial soul. Hello, Blue Silver Emperor. Bei Bei was finally able to put down his overwhelming emotions and speak again. He bowed before the Blue Silver Emperor with utmost sincerity along with Xiaoya. Huo Yuao spoke. Senior, this is my eldest senior brother, and she is teacher Xiaoya. I believe you should have been able to tell that her martial soul has been severely injured. Hence, we need your help. My eldest senior brother has also sworn not to hunt any soul beasts unless he is attacked by them. The Blue Silver Emperor nodded and gave a straightforward reply. Then let's begin with her treatment. We can talk about the rest later. As it spoke, the Blue Silver Emperor raised its hand, which was made out of thick vines. Before shaking it lightly, a blue crystal clear vine floated out and landed in Huo Yuao's hand. They had been working so hard to find a Blue Silver Emperor, and had even announced to the entire continent that they were willing to reward the person who could bring the Blue Silver Emperor to Tanya. However, all of their efforts had failed until now. The Blue Silver Emperor had finally arrived at the Tang Sect. Huo Yuao turned around and looked at Bei Bei. Eldest senior brother, let's find a meditation room and begin the treatment. Blue Silver Emperor, I assume you're joining us, right? Yes, I will also take a look at her. The Blue Silver Emperor nodded. After all, it was very likely that Xiaoya would be the owner of its spirit. Hence, it made sense for it to show some concern for her. It was extremely easy to find a meditation room in the Tang Sect. They chose a meditation room in the rear courtyard and started to begin their preparations. Bei Bei was in charge of safeguarding the treatment process, while Huo Yuao treated Tanya. The Blue Silver Emperor would supervise the process by the side. Teacher Xiaoya, I need you to sit up straight and cross your legs. Afterwards, relax your body as I try to awaken your martial soul. You will then try to circulate your own soul power. But remember to take it easy and not rush into it, alright? Tanya nodded, but she knew it was impossible for her to not be anxious. She was even more hungry for power than before, but she also understood how important it was for her to be calm in such critical moments. After taking a deep breath, Tanya forced herself to calm down as she crossed her legs and sat properly. The Blue Silver Emperor suddenly raised its hands before lowering them above Tanya's head. Suddenly, a shower of faint blue light landed on Tanya's body. The people in Tang Sect had tried many different therapeutic methods and soul skills, to no avail. However, under the illumination of this blue light, she seemed to have become a lot calmer and relaxed. Tanya flashed a grateful smile towards the Blue Silver Emperor before nodding at it. Huo Yuao moved towards Tanya as he held the vine from the Blue Silver Emperor in his hand and injected the pure soul power from his mysterious heaven technique into it. The Blue Silver Emperor vine immediately radiated an intense blue glow. Tanya's small body started to tremble, as though something within her body was resonating with the vine's aura. Even though the life energy in her body had stopped disappearing because of the Kayankin fortune kills, it was no longer increasing. However, at this instant, she felt an inexplicable warmth in her body, as though something was being awakened. Huo Yuao increased the amount of soul power injected into the vine, until the Blue Silver Emperor vine exploded with a popping sound. It transformed into countless motes of blue dust, which floated in the air. At this moment, it was time for Huo Yuao to showcase his powerful control ability. Under the control of his soul power, the dust continued to spread evenly into the air before entering her body through her pores and nose. Tanya's body started to tremble lightly as her skin started to glow with a faint blue color. Huo Yuao let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like everything was going according to plan. Now, the ball was in Tanya's court. The main use of the Blue Silver Brass vine was to awaken Tanya's own Blue Silver Brass martial soul. Her martial soul had become a lot weaker after its dark parts had been removed. Because the Blue Silver Emperor's aura was very strong, it should be able to awaken her martial soul and revitalize it. If everything went according to plan, her cultivation and abilities should return to their original states. She would also start accumulating life energy again, and hence be considered as having truly recovered. Tanya held on as she sensed the energy within her body starting to awaken. However, it seemed like the energy which was trying to stir her own energy was a little weak. Even though she could sense it, she was unable to borrow its power to activate her own energy. Tanya started to panic. She only had one shot, and if this failed, the outcome was unthinkable. As the panic in her heart intensified, she became more helpless. She was starting to lose touch with the energy within her body. As a result, the Blue Silver Emperor's energy and effects started to weaken. No, this can't be it. Tanya became really anxious as she tried her best to attract the energy. Because of her panicking, the energy from the Blue Silver Emperor started to become messy and convoluted. Huo Yuao was also startled by the sight before him. He had been using his spiritual detection to monitor Tanya's situation. He also became worried after seeing how her energy flow was becoming chaotic. However, no one present could help her. This concerned one's control over one's martial soul. It was not something that soul power from external sources could help. It concerned her special relationship with her martial soul. At this instant, a blue figure suddenly appeared behind Tanya. He raised his arms as several vines swarmed out and wrapped themselves around her body, following which, his body started to radiate a powerful blue glow as it started to release a powerful aura. That was not the aura from his soul power. It originated from the martial soul's bloodline aura. It was the Blue Silver Emperor. Tanya's body trembled violently for a short while before it stabilized. One would be able to see a small blue glow radiating from her dantian. Conversely, the light from the Blue Silver Emperor's vines was partially concealed by the bodies of the veins, resulting in a mystical sight. Did it succeed? Huo Yuao turned around to look at Bei Bei with excitement in his eyes. He realized Bei Bei was looking at him with hopeful eyes as well. Both of them were very anxious to know the results. It seemed like the Blue Silver Emperor had made a critical intervention at the most crucial moment. Huo Yuao could sense that this was a successful attempt. As expected, Tanya's breathing started to become stable as her body stopped trembling. She started to possess her own soul power fluctuations. The Blue Silver Emperor loosened its vines which were wrapped around her as it returned to Huo Yuao's side. The martial soul in her body has already been awakened. It is truly one of the purest Blue Silver Brass I have ever seen. In addition, she also seems to possess the true Blue Silver Brass royal blood. Thank you, Huo Yuao. You have helped me find a really good host. If I can really fuse with her and become her spirit, I am certain we will share a fruitful symbiotic relationship. Thank you. Huo Yuao and Bei Bei bowed in unison to the Blue Silver Emperor. We should be the one thanking you. Without your help just now, she would have been in serious danger. Tanya's breathing finally stabilized as the soul power fluctuations from her body started to become stronger, even though the increase was not significant, and her current soul power was probably only at the soul scholar level. This improvement could be sensed by Huo Yuao. Bei Bei was also able to sense it through Huo Yuao's spiritual sharing. It seems like teacher Xiaoya will need to cultivate under closed door conditions for an extended period of time. This time around, I am certain that she will recover all of her soul power after her closed door cultivation. When that day comes, we will just need to provide her with tonics and herbs to help her get back to her best state. Eldest senior brother, why don't we get third senior brother to head to the Douluo Empire instead? You can stay behind to accompany teacher Xiaoya. Bei Bei shook his head and said, everyone is busy with their own responsibilities. I think it's still better for me to head to the Douluo Empire. I think I will be a lot more persuasive as a member of the Sea Gods Pavilion than third senior brother. Yuao, I will leave right away after you help me pen the letter. I will go and talk to Nanan and Xiaxia and get them to take care of Xiaoya for me. Bei Bei was raring to contribute to the war. Now that Tanya was well on her way to recuperation, it was almost as if all his worries had disappeared. As his emotions improved, his entire mental state seemed to have become completely different. All right. Since they had no time to lose, Huo Yuao did not waste any time with formalities. By the time Bei Bei was done relaying instructions to Xiaxia and Jiang Nanan, Huo Yuao was done with the letter. After receiving the letter, Bei Bei immediately left for the Douluo Empire without resting at all. After passing some reminders to Jiang Nanan and Xiaxia, Huo Yuao left for the Soltal Hall. He went straight to Sun Wen's laboratory. Before his closed-door cultivation, he had some things he wanted to ask Teacher Sun. Huo Yuao knocked twice on the laboratory's metallic door. There did not seem to be any response from within the laboratory. Huo Yuao was used to this, and he opened the door and entered quietly. Sun Wen was busy constructing a soul tool within the laboratory, just as Huo Yuao had expected. He did not even look up to see who had entered. Teacher Sun, I'm back. Huo Yuao announced softly. I know that. But I also heard that you expended close to 60% of our stationary soul cannon shells. Is that true? Cough, cough. That's true. I can't believe second senior brother betrayed me. Who are you outside? Sun Zwen simply gave an emotionless reply. Soul tools are meant to be used anyways. He couldn't have betrayed you in the first place. The most important thing is whether you managed to witness the effects of the explosions. Were the effects up to our expectations? I can't believe you just used over 10,000 stationary soul cannon shells so casually. You really are a failure. Why couldn't you have mixed in some fake shells instead of only using real ones? You know well enough that it wouldn't have been able to breach the Radiant City's defenses anyways. Who are you? Let out an awkward laugh. I didn't think that much back then. The situation was already tense enough. But I admit I was wrong to have used so many shells. Teacher Sun. Sun Zwen waved his hand to dismiss Who are you as apology. Our stationary soul cannon shells must still be lacking power. The fact that we only expended the energy in their defensive soul tools after firing over 10,000 shells proves that we need to improve our cannon shells. We should at least cause their soul tools to overheat. It really wasn't worth it to fire all of those shells. Anyways, I have recently made some adjustments to our cannon shells. Now, we will start categorizing the different shells we plan to manufacture. Huh? How do you plan to categorize them? Who are you? Asked curiously. Sun Zwen explained. Previously, when we were manufacturing the stationary soul cannon shells in bulk, they were largely built for huge explosions. They would destroy whatever was in their way with high temperature and heat, as well as their explosiveness. Because of this, most of the current protective soul barriers, especially linked defensive barriers, are built to counter the combination of heat, temperature, and explosiveness. Just now, K2 gave me a report on the events which occurred during the battle. It seems like Tai R's effects far exceeded my expectations. Tai R was the Class 9 stationary soul cannon shell which had penetrated the defenses of the Sun Moon Empire's palace. It was also personally designed by Sun Zwen. Hence, I have decided to vary the types of stationary soul cannon shells we will manufacture in the future. We will have shells which will provide range defensive capabilities and penetrative capabilities. To be honest, shells which can penetrate barriers often have better effects. Recently, I have come up with a new stationary soul cannon shell called the clustered piercing shell. Its manufacturing cost is almost twice that of the stationary soul cannon shell you came up with. This was because it requires rare metals to construct. However, you can only imagine how powerful its destructive ability is. Previously, I had already rushed out the first batch of these clustered piercing shells. If you are leaving for an operation again, you can bring some of them along with you. Who are you? Said. I am afraid we won't be going anywhere anytime soon. The current situation is not looking good and thus, I have made new plans. Sun Zwen raised his hand to stop Who are you from continuing. Don't talk to me about what goes on outside. As long as the Tang Sect is still around, I will never leave this place. I am only concerned with my own research. As for the other things, the responsibility will lay in all of your hands. Now that you have already become a Class 9 soul engineer, there's nothing left for me to teach you. What you can achieve will depend on how hard you work. I have also heard about the mass manufacturing of human-shaped soul tools in the Sun Moon Empire. Haha. This idea might not be as good as it seems. Just give me some time to think about this, and I will let you know what I feel about it. With the current soul tool technology available, even Teacher Kong might not be able to manufacture a human-shaped soul tool without any undesired side effects. Teacher Kong? Who's that? Who are you? Asked. Sun Zwen glared at Who are you and said, he is my teacher, the whole master of the Sun Moon Empire's Hall of Consecration. He is also the most powerful soul engineer in the entire Sun Moon Empire. He is your grandmaster. Cough. Cough. I didn't know someone like that existed. You never mentioned him to me before, right? Who are you? Was very startled to hear that. Sun Zwen glared at him before reprimanding him. That's not my fault. You can only blame yourself for being dumb. Just use your head to think. As a young man back then who was only a Class 9 soul engineer, how could I become the lead researcher at the Virtuous Hall if not for special reasons? They only gave me the title because I was Teacher Kong's disciple. Almost half of the Class 9 soul engineers in the Sun Moon Empire have received some sort of guidance from Teacher Kong. In fact, Teacher Kong is so great that I don't even know where his limits lie. He's definitely not weaker than any ultimate Douluo, and should be extremely dangerous. In my opinion, Shu Tianran must have gotten Teacher Kong's support. If not, it would not have been so easy for him to become the emperor. Who are you? Started to become a little worried. Even though Teacher Kong was his grandmaster, he was on the enemy side. It was definitely not a good thing to have such a strong opponent. Teacher Sun, in that case, I will be beginning my closed-door cultivation. You can work hard, but do remember to take care of your health. Who are you? Said. Sun Zwen waved his hand as though he were chasing a fly away. You may take your leave. Next time, if you don't have anything important to say, please don't come and waste my time. Also, you can rest assured that after eating your Kayankin fortune pills, I won't be dying anytime soon. Now that I think of it, all of you are treating my laboratory as a sweatshop. I am but an oppressed laborer. Who are you? Gave an awkward smile and thought to himself, how can any of us force you to do something you don't want to do with that temper of yours? After leaving Sun Zwen's laboratory, Who are you? Entered his own laboratory. Even though he had been absent for quite a while, it had been kept clean by the Tang Sect staff. Who are you? Closed the heavy metallic door and then bolted it. At the same time, he activated the alarm system which would inform anyone who approached the door about his closed-door cultivation. This was the safest and quietest area within the entire Tang Sect. Who are you? Walked back and forth within his laboratory as he tried to tidy up his thought process. Following which, he leapt onto the bench which he used to build soul tools before sitting down with his legs crossed. I can only allow events outside to unfold by themselves. Without any change to the current situation, the elders in the academy would never change their strategy. I have also done my best when it came to both the Douluo Empire and the Dalu Empire. Now it is up to them to decide what's best for everyone and for themselves. The only thing I can do now is make myself as strong as possible and turn the tide of the battle at its most crucial moment. I can do it and must do it. After convincing himself that his decision was correct, Who are you? Clenched his fists and slowly closed his eyes. His body started to relax as the soul power in his body began to circulate on its own. When Tang Wutong mentioned his status as the ultimate soldier, Who are you? Immediately understood what she meant. His soul power had been stuck at rank 89 for a while, and he had been unable to become a titled Douluo, even though he was already capable of defeating any normal titled Douluo. Becoming a true titled Douluo would still enhance his powers, just as it would for any soul master. The more gifted a soul master was, the greater the enhancement. Furthermore, Who are you? Already had his first soul core. Once his second soul core formed, his soul power would be not much different from that of an ultimate Douluo. In the future, his soul power would also improve at an unimaginable rate. Who are you? Had actually been accumulating soul power all this while. In fact, he had been doing so for a long time. When he acquired the 8th soul ring of his spirit eyes in the IC, his spiritual sea had transformed once again, resulting in a huge boost to his spiritual power. Following which, he was influenced by the plants and improved his understanding of totality. Now, he had fulfilled all the conditions to push for his second soul core. He was definitely not inferior to any rank 98 soul master when it came to his spiritual control. He needed to become stronger in order for his words to weigh more, and for him to possess the ability to better influence the battlefield. This was the plan that Who are you? Had finally settled on. An individual's effort might be small, but sometimes, he or she might still be able to turn the tables with his or her own efforts. Even though Who are you? Might not be able to do so right now, he might gain the ability to do so if he were to become stronger. Since there were no better options, it would be wisest for him to strengthen and enhance his capabilities. Thus, Who are you? Had decided to begin closed-door cultivation. In fact, the way in which he planned to cultivate was a lot different from what Tang Wutong had in mind. In Tang Wutong's opinion, the best way for Who are you? To cultivate his soul core was to use the resonance method. However, Who are you? Disagreed with what she felt. He knew that he had to become as strong as someone like the beast god. If he could not compare to Ditian, there was no way he could succeed on the battlefield. Hence, the only option for him was to tread the same path as Ditian. In fact, he was aiming to do better than him, to become even stronger than the beast god. After becoming certain of his target, Who are you? Allowed the soul power in his body to circulate on its own. He stabilized the soul core which was near his his forehead as he allowed his spiritual power to circulate around his soul core. Huo Yuao's soul core was now the center of all of his power. His spiritual power was revolving around the soul core in its immediate orbit, following which, his soul power circulated around the soul core on an outer orbit. If one were to observe his spiritual sea, one would notice a gigantic rhombus-shaped sun in the center of it. This sun was his soul core. Even though his spiritual power had become so dense that it was almost solid, it continued to revolve around the soul core, following which, Huo Yuao prepared to attempt to form his second soul core. According to Elderson, the initiating of his second soul core should be fairly simple after the strenuous initiation of his first soul core. This was because his second soul core would be initiated within the Dantian, the place where his soul power was stored. Hence, it should be a lot easier to construct his soul core there. However, after accumulating his soul power all this while, Huo Yuao had other thoughts. Even though it was easy to create one soul core in the Dantian, it might not be the most beneficial option for his future development. This was because he was not planning on going for the resonance cultivation method. He wanted to use the yin-yang complement method instead. The term yin-yang complement meant the complementary relationship between opposites. Once he succeeded in the cultivation of his soul core in his Dantian, the two soul cores in his body would circulate the surrounding energy in opposite directions. This would allow them to draw upon each other's strengths and complement one another, just like a pair of gears. His soul power and spiritual power would circulate from his Dantian all the way to his forehead. However, what would happen after Huo Yuao reached rank 98? Even though by then he might already possess the ability to hold his own against an ultimate Douluo, he would still not be considered as one. In order to reach rank 99 and become an ultimate Douluo, he needed to improve himself with his soul cores as his foundation. This meant that he would have to create a third soul core. If his two soul cores had already occupied the path from his Dantian to his forehead by using the yin-yang complement method, where else could he initiate his third soul core? Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.